but I like the color green, and I'm like, man, look at that! It even has a little 4-leaf clover.
Yeah,
Let me get it. And it's a high quality shirt. Bella Canvas is a very top quality. Like WWE, all their shirts suck. Like they suck. But your shirts, high quality.
Thank you.
I can't put it over enough.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And the beauty of that website is I don't have to carry a huge amount of stock of shirts around, you know, and that can be frustrating because it's like I got to lug all this around. You can just go directly to the website. You get your shirt within about a week's time. I think you said you got yours within 3 days, which is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works out great for me, you know, and then I think there are certain ways that I think if I make it available, you can customize the shirt you want, like with the particular graphic. So I have to look into that some more. It's still fairly new, the store, and I'm trying to add stuff, you know, every couple of weeks to try to keep it interesting. But the St. Patrick's Day SuperTex shirt has been very popular, so I'm real happy with that one. But yeah, so graphic design t-shirts. I've got my shop. You can check all that out, man. If you need wrestling posters or any kind of poster, really, I can try to help you out as best I can. I'm not super expensive, so save some money and get a quality graphic from me if you'd like. BDM Designs.
And the graphics are the key. I mean, you're not supposed to judge the book by its cover, but in wrestling, people normally do. They judge the show by the cover.
As they should.
Right? Yeah. I remember whenever you were originally doing the flyers for Lions Pride, and I remember those first flyers were like awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, being a graphic designer too, I taught myself how to do it, and man, I love it. It's just sad that nobody wants to.
That's my deal. Nobody wants to pay you.
Hell no. Hell no. I mean, I have so many promotions in Texas that are like wanting me to do their flyers for free.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, this is work. These take hours to do.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can't do, you know, between $40 and $50, then why are you in the business?
Yeah. Exactly. It's sad there's people still out there that think that a blue background with like some clip art of some flames and like, oh yeah, we just put a full picture of them. It's gonna look bad.
Yeah, like they didn't edit the photo that they used. It's just a literal saved image that they just pasted onto background, and it looks like they made it in Microsoft Paint or Microsoft Word, and it looks like it was made in 1993 or something like that. And people think that's passable when it's not.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I just don't understand, but I definitely will say all of your merchandise, you have some of the best merchandise due to the graphics. Like, you have the best graphics out there. Much like
greatly appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean it. Another thing that I wanted to mention, I think this is like the first time I ever met you. I loved your theme song, "The Eyes of Texas Are Upon You," and I remember like the next day, because I couldn't understand what they were saying. I thought it was like, "I've been working on the railroad." And I remember
it's the same melody.
It is, yes. I remember we were like sitting outside of Hearn High School, the gym, and I remember I was like, dude, what is that song? And I remember you were sitting down and you looked up at me, and you're like, "The eyes of Texas are upon you." And you're looking at me with the eyes of Texas. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Goodness. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not using that music anymore. I've just really kind of used it.
Are you serious? What the hell's the matter with you? What the hell's the matter?
Man, what isn't wrong with me? But
dude,
I used that really as
ever.
I used it more as kind of just a heat-seeking device, because I was obviously in Aggie land, and I'm using that as the University of Texas fight song, and so, you know, the Aggies out there, they'll hate that song because they hate everything UT, And but I've shifted away from that because you got to keep it fresh.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, you have to keep everything fresh and keep reinventing yourself. So as we narrow down to the very end of the episode, do you have a couple questions from some of our listeners out there, some of our followers on Facebook? So we do have a question from one of our followers. So considering yourself in a class of super heavyweights, such as the One Man Gang, Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, Ernie Ladd, Big Boss Man, Mark Henry, did you adapt your style from any particular athlete, a combination of athletes, or do you consider your own skill set a style of your own?
I think it's kind of just a blend of a lot of guys. Like, I'm a huge Bam Bam Bigelow fan. So Bam Bam is really kind of a lot of what I do. I'm maybe a little bit more physical than Bam Bam was as far as just harder hitting. Bam Bam was very much a finesse type of guy, but in a big man's body. He could move really well. So, the cartwheel, I do the cartwheel elbow drop. I got that from Bam Bam because he would do cartwheels. Vader, of course, and I think any big man, that says, I'm influenced, one of their influences is Vader because he was just a monster, would beat you down. No, there's several, Vader, Bam Bam. I was a big Kevin Nash fan as a child. Which, looking back, I'm like, but something about his presence stood out. But yeah, I think I've taken a lot of stuff from Bam Bam and Vader, more or less. And of course, I do a moonsault. They both did moonsaults, so.
Right. Which is absolutely insane to watch, man. Like I lose my mind whenever I see you do a moonsault.
Oh, it's dumb.
No, it's not dumb. It is dumb. Awesome.
Tell my body it's not dumb.
Oh, right. Oh, have you ever done the 5 count, the King Kong Bundy 5 count?
I have not. Because I was considering doing it, but Big E was doing it on TV.
Yeah, he kind of brought it back. And
so that's one of the reasons I did not do it, because it was already on TV. So you don't want to be the guy that people could look at and go, oh, they did that on Monday night. Why are you doing it? So, because no one, casual fans don't realize that it's a King Kong Bundy type deal, and that would have been cool, to do, but Big E started doing it on TV, so I was like, well, can't do that now. So,
right. Well, last question from our viewers out there or our listeners. If you controlled the time machine, hold on. If you controlled a time machine, which would you like to compete against in a match and why? Let me reword that.
Reword that because I'm not.
I don't understand.
So I think they're asking if I had a time machine.
Yeah.
What era would I like to compete in, or who would I like to compete against?
I guess who? Yeah, who would you like to compete against in a match and why? They don't say who or where, so I guess say who and then where.
I do feel like I was born like 20 years too late. Because I work pretty old school, I guess. I try to keep it real simple because you don't have to go out there and do a 10 million moves to elicit a response. You really only need 5 or 6 different things that you do, and if you do them well enough and you interact well enough with the crowd, then you're going to elicit a response from them. So I would have loved to have worked in the 80s, the territory type stuff. But who would I like to have worked against? I mean, that's a long list that I could go all night on, honestly. I would have loved to have worked against Vader for sure. Bam Bam, of course, because those two are my favorites as far as big men go. But would love to be in the ring with Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat. So there's several guys that I could say that I'd love to be able to work against in that particular era. But I think the 80s, I think I would have been pretty well suited for that.
Okay. Very nice. Well, Brent, it's been a great episode.
Yes.
Talked about a lot. I think we've covered it all. I mean, hell, we even did the unthinkable and talked about the craziness that is the coronavirus with the NBA getting totally shut down.
It's pretty wild. Tom Hanks.
Freaking really. Tom Hanks is going to die.
Tom and his wife both have.
I mean, I don't want to assume the worst, but, I mean, this is horrible.
it's
not good. It's the opposite of bad. It's the opposite of good. Bad.
It is definitely the opposite of good.
Anyway, man. Well, so before we leave, where can the people find you out there?
So you can find me on Facebook, Brent McKenzie, or SuperTex Brent McKenzie is my fan page. You can like that page. I am on Twitter at the SuperTex, and I'm on Instagram at Brent McKenzie. You can also visit my store at SuperTex online and pick you up some pretty sweet SuperTex and Down to Fight merchandise.
Perfect. Alrighty, folks. So, any last words before you go?
Get to a show, man. Support your local independent wrestling show, as long as it's a good independent wrestling show. Don't go to the bad ones, and I think you can tell which ones are the bad ones. But we go out there and we do this, and we don't do it for a whole lot of money. We're doing it more or less to either try to make it to the next level, or we're doing it just because we love it. So any support that you can give us to help us out, whether it be by buying some tickets and coming to a show, visiting us at our merchandise table and buying some of our merchandise to help us get to the next show. We greatly appreciate that. So get to a wrestling show, support your favorite wrestlers, and help us out as best you can by coming and supporting us. But we do want to thank the fans out there that do. There are some very loyal fans that come to every show, and they come to as many shows as they can. And we really say thank you to those guys because they're the heart and soul of the independent wrestling world, and they're the reason we do it. So if they weren't there, we wouldn't be able to do it. So thank you guys.
All righty. Well, that's going to be pretty much it, Brent. I thank you again for spending this wonderful night. Crazy night. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so I guess it's going to be it. On with the outro.
Only the biggest and best names in professional wrestling interviewed right here on The Experience. Follow The Experience on Facebook at The Experience with Bryce Boudreaux, on Instagram at The Experience Live. Like, subscribe, and follow on this app.